I'm Bob Chapman. I'm a longtime member, 20 years really, of St. Peter's Episcopal Church here, part of the St. Peter's community. St. Peter's itself, the reason I came to it was because it seemed to me like a really good experiment in trying to put people's faith into action. And St. Peter's has a long history of social justice, and it's very ecumenical. And it just seemed like a good fit. And now we're the Peace and Justice Hive. So a number of nonprofits, including We the People, involved with the People's Water Board, and people involved with the water struggle, the National Lawyers Guild, the Michigan Peace Team, Michigan Interfaith Power and Light. They all have their offices here, and in the basement we have Man a Meal, which has been operating out of from Day House for about 40 years now, a soup kitchen, and our most recent thing, a few years ago, we started the Corner Shower and Laundry, which just got operational in February of this year, where we offer shower and laundry facilities for homeless and those that are close to being homeless, who might not have laundry. Someone who might have a room, but that's all they've got is a room. I'm born in Detroit. Went to school in Detroit, have worked most of my life in Detroit, and most of my work has been around energy efficiency and green matters. First of all, through my work I came to solar, and I've had solar in my own house for about 5 years, but I've been keenly aware that solar is not for everybody. And energy efficiency comes first. So before I put panels on my house, I put LED lights in. I have energy saving toilets and water saving toilets, and I've got, things caulked, etc. We did the same thing at St. Peter's. St. Peter's has relamped. We did whatever energy efficiency things with the limited budget we had. We focused on that first, and that's what any house of worship should be doing, and any household should be doing. If you're a candidate for solar, though, you've got a great opportunity because you can save energy, but it's also got a very good environmental impact. I come out of a Christian tradition, and there's a sacrament or is an outward sign of an inward state, and when you put those panels up on a roof, you've got a visible sign that you're committed to something. It's really hard to see an energy efficient furnace, but it's real easy to see a solar panel. Yeah. Now, the more important thing might be that furnace, but the congregants get excited about those panels. There's also a very strong, as you know, an environmental justice aspect here. I mean, we're in or next to one of the most polluted zip codes, which not unsurprisingly has very high asthma rates, and so I think embracing solar is another way of just making a statement that says we're in it. And finally, for St. Peter's, it was a way of making a statement to say we're not going anywhere. There's been a church at the corner of Michigan and Trumbull since 1858, and there's been that commitment to social justice. I know going back to at least the 1900s. This is a 11 kilowatt array, which is really pretty small, but the church does everything it can to be energy efficient, so we try to keep the electric bill down anyways. There's about 32 panels. We're standing on a flat roof. As I told you, we would have preferred to have it on the south side, more visible and actually more powerful, but the Historic Commission didn't want us to do that. So by putting it on the flat roof, it's pretty much hidden from view. This powers enough to about 80% of the power needed for what we call the Peace and Justice Hive, which is the building we're standing on and attached to the church itself. The first step that any house of worship, and frankly any household would take, which is first, are you even a candidate? And when I say that, I mean, like, do you get enough solar gain? And could you put panels either on your roof or next to your building or something like that? And that's again, not every house of worship has that. People can help you find out if you're a candidate at no charge to you. If it turns out that you're a good candidate, then it's like, well, how much solar might you need? Well, that means looking at the bills. And when you look at the bills, you want to, the ideal is get close to producing as much as you need, but in this state of Michigan, don't go over, because you're not going to get paid for anything you go over. So the ideal production would be maybe 80% of what you might need. We learned through Michigan Interfaith Power and Light, we're part of a national umbrella. So we knew that there were other houses of worship around the country that had used this thing called a power purchase agreement. Somebody does the upfront cost, and somebody else agrees to pay for the power. A power purchase agreement, in the way that we're doing it, is local, socially responsible investing. We viewed like, well, I don't mind. And it's good for the environment, it's good for the church, it's good for the community, and you only have two things. You got your money and your time. Yeah. So I know what I've tried to do with my time, so this is what we're trying to do with part of our money. The whole installation of labor, materials, engineering, design, etc. cost $27,000. We paid that because we used a PPA, a power purchase agreement, so that my wife and I are the investor. And that took care of the church didn't have to do the upfront cost. Right. And then as the church pays for the power month by month, that simultaneously is paying for the panels, so that within about 13 or 14 years, the church will own the panels and have another 15 to 20 years of basically free power. Green power. Right. So the church is basically powering 80% of its electricity is coming from renewable resources.
Which means a small array of nonprofits in the city are able to receive green power in this building.
Exactly. All of the nonprofits that are in this building, including We the People and the Michigan Interfaith Power and Light, is getting its power as green power. St. Peter's actually is because we are a very small church and we don't have a lot of things going on at night, we have a pretty low bill compared to a lot of churches, very low. I mean, it's the equivalent of about maybe 3 houses for their bills. But still in all, we're saving on about $100 a month that would have gone to DTE. And in the first years, you're paying for those panels, so you're really paying Suncom in maybe $75 a month instead of $100. So the church is still getting a break. From day one, it started to save money. But in 15 years, it'll go from that 100 to more like $200 a month that it'll be saved.
Right.
And by then, utility costs will be a lot higher. And so it'll actually be probably more like $300. about putting our faith in action. The church has always had an environmental concern for nature and care for nature ethic, and so it's looked for ways of doing that. And initially it was about energy efficiency, but when this opportunity came up, they were all in. It's a symbol and it's a declaration that we're going to do whatever we can to have clean power and to care for things. I think there's a lot of people who don't maybe understand that renewable is now become affordable. In the past, it was more of just a almost symbolic, like it wasn't even financially feasible. You just did it because it was the right thing to do. Right. Now, it's got to the point where we've hit a tipping point, and it will pay for itself. But it's also still the right thing to do. And to do a small solar array, someone could say, well, does it really do that much? But I think we're talking about energy democracy. And so there's an environmental justice factor involved. There's there's an energy factor involved where you're decentralizing and saying that's how we should be doing it. We should have a decentralized power source. One thing I would say for sure is that a power purchase agreement would work for a lot of nonprofits or for houses of worship. Because if you own the building and if you have the right site, if you're a good candidate for solar, then the problem with initial purchase no longer has to be a problem. One thing I want to stress is that if you're a house of worship, the solar panels cannot be the beginning or the end. The energy efficiency is really important, and the panels are visible, but there's a lot of things you could do behind the scenes, including recycling, that aren't necessarily easy, but they're important. And in terms of lessons learned, and this is something that we're still learning, I wouldn't want to say we got it all figured out. You have to figure out ways to celebrate your success and to let other people know what you're doing. I told you, these panels are up on the roof, so it's easy to forget that it's even happening unless we periodically put in, hey, our bills last month were $14, you know? If we don't tell the story, then it can easily just be forgotten. Don't assume you know. Don't assume you know that it's a good thing or a bad thing. Be willing to do the information, get the information, be willing to do the work to find out if you're a good candidate. And then go for it.